Hi everyone, it's Karen at the Cool Tools Studio, and today I'm excited to introduce you to the new Delicate Element series. These amazing tiles are used to easily create intricate, amazingly detailed elements that can stand alone as beautiful, lightweight little earrings or be assembled together into statement necklaces. Also, you could combine them with other metal clay working techniques to create complex and stunning pieces of jewelry. These delicate elements are a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed working with them so far because they offer a bunch of different patterns and designs. And then among each tile, they offer different sizes, so you're really able to kind of play with one pattern and piecing things together. They're super delicate and fine, aptly named. In addition to being super intricate and lightweight, these guys are also a great way to stretch your clay. This one here weighs 1/3 of a gram, and then this guy over here weighs less than 1/2 of a gram. So it's a great way to get a lot of mileage out of your clay, especially if you're working in silver. Alright, so super briefly, these tiles are used by pressing clay into the low areas within the tile and then scraping away the excess. Then the tile is going to be heated until the clay releases naturally. I'll talk more about all of that and show you while I'm making this necklace. So in addition to a delicate element tile, you're going to want a clay board to work on top of, some cool slip and a brush, a scraper, and then either some EZ960 Sterling or FS999 and a hot plate. Before we dive right in, let's talk about clay. If you watched my woven pendant video, then you'll remember that EZ960 and FS999 get amazingly flexible when they're heated to 165 degrees. That's going to come in really handy when it comes time to try to get your pieces out of the element tiles. I tested a couple other fine silver and sterling silver clay bodies and found that either they were too sticky to stay in the low areas and would come out when you're scraping away the excess, or that they weren't flexible enough to come out of the tile. For that reason, I'm going to recommend EZ960 Sterling and FS999 Silver, and especially the Sterling because that strength is going to come in handy unless you're wanting the fine silver for enameling. Let's start off with this one. I'm going to be using some cool slip, and I'm going to spray that little pattern. I'm starting from about 8 inches or so away. You don't want to be right there and spray. And then I'm going to distribute it with a brush just to make sure I get it in all the low areas. You want to make sure you let it dry. If you were to dive right in and try to press your clay in there while you can still see some dampness to the cool slip, it's going to peel right out on you. So give it a couple of seconds to dry, and then we're going to add our clay. You'll want to work with either fresh clay or clay that you've kind of dampened a little bit if you've worked with it before, because if your clay is too dry, it's going to be crumbly and it's not going to work well. So I've got some EZ960 here. And I'm just going to kind of place it on top there. And then I've got my scraper. I'm going to use the flat edge to really press it in. I'm not just scraping across, I'm really pushing down and kind of pulling to make sure it gets into those low areas. Sometimes it's helpful to rotate so you can get little edges and corners. So now I'm going to pull towards myself. And once it looks like it's in there, then you're going to kind of bring your scraper upright a little bit more to start removing. I find it helps to take away excess clay as you go, keep things kind of clean. And again, I'm pushing down while I'm pulling. And it looks like I kind of missed a spot there. That's fine. It's going to go back and add a little more clay. Again, I'm going to rotate. I'm going to push down into that one spot that I missed. And then I'm going to try to scrape away the excess again. Once it looks like you have clay in all of your low areas and you've removed any excess and it looks nice and crisp and clean, you're ready to dry your clay. If you were to try to pop it out right now and just bend it, it would just kind of fall apart and break. It's that flexibility that we talked about that's important. So you have to heat your pieces to dry them. If you were to leave them out overnight, they would break when you try to remove them. So you're going to want to use either a hot plate or a clay dehydrator. Clay dehydrators are nice because if you wanted to do all three of these at once, you can put this whole thing directly onto the tray and do all three at once. Whereas if you're working with a hot plate, you'll just be able to position the individual one over the heat. So we'll move this over to a hot plate, and you're going to want to keep an eye on it and look for when it starts to kind of naturally release and peel away. Check on it frequently, but anywhere from a minute to 3 minutes should do it. So I'm going to work with a hot plate so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But I'm just going to place my delicate element tile over the heat there, and we'll check back in on it once it starts to release. Let's take a look and see how this is going. You can see at some of the edges, if you get down at the level, that it's kind of pulling away. And I'm just going to kind of give it a nudge and see if it is, yep, see how he's popping out? So we're ready to remove it from the heat. And then you should be able to just flip these and they should pop right out, or you can kind of angle them out slightly and then slide them away. It's up to you which you think is easiest. That'll come right out. And then in my necklace, I had 2 more in addition to this one of the smallest, and then 2 of the second smallest size. So I'm going to go ahead and make those. Once your pieces are finished and dry, you're going to fire them in the kiln on an open shelf. Since we're using EZ960, we're going to fire them for 2 hours at 1675. Once your pieces are done in the kiln, you're going to want to shine them up. Please don't put them in the tumbler, they won't survive it. They really are delicate. I suggest using a steel brush to get them started. And then once they're bright, you can come back with a brass brush and give them a gentle shine. You can also use polishing pads to shine them up. I have my delicate element pieces here all cleaned up and ready to assemble into my necklace. I'm going to be using jump rings to join them together, and so many times I'll go to use jump rings and I'll pick up my pieces and then be like, wait, where were these supposed to connect? So I've already done this, but I find that it's a little easier to remember where things are going to go, to take a little magic marker and kind of gently mark, okay, so that is where my jump ring is going to go. That way when I pick it up, there's no guessing. So I'm just going to pick these guys up and notice that that's where my jump ring is going to go because my Sharpie's telling me. And then I'm going to be using chain nose pliers to open and close my jump rings. I've already opened these up, but always remember, when you're opening jump rings, it's a side-to-side motion to open and close. You don't want to pull out because you'll distort your circular shape. So I'm going to reopen this guy. And then just, sometimes easier to hold it with these two so your fingers don't get in the way. I'm going to look for my Sharpie mark again because I set it down. And I see that these guys are going to join there. So I'm just going to slip that jump ring through both pieces at once. And then I'm going to close it. And then while I've got it in place, might as well join these two as well. I'm going to pick up another jump ring. Try to get this guy in position and then go through those 2 holes at once. And then close that guy up. So there's 2 connected, and then I can set this back down and look for my Sharpie to tell me where things are going to go and know that this guy's going to connect to this guy next. So I'm going to keep joining this necklace with jump rings. And then I'm going to add an oval chain that I've already put a lobster clasp on to the ends there to complete my necklace. Here we have the finished piece. I removed the marks that were made by the Sharpie with just a little bit of rubbing alcohol on a Q-tip. I think it looks great, and can you believe that I used less than 4 grams of silver in this project? But this is just kind of the very beginning of what you can do. Let's take a look at some other things you can do using the delicate elements. I have here a variety of different things that you can do using the delicate elements. Here's another necklace that I made exactly how I did the other, just using a different delicate element tile. And then in this piece, I laminated the delicate element on top of a textured sheet of clay and then fired them both together. All 3 of these pieces were made from just using one of the delicate element tiles and look very different from each other. And then this necklace was made by cropping these squares from a delicate element into triangles before pasting them into a necklace, firing them, and then bending them after it was fired. And then, a little teaser for you guys, you can look forward to a video coming out where I'm going to show you how to use the delicate elements in fine silver in order to simulate a cloisonne. I hope you've enjoyed this introduction to the delicate elements. They've been a lot of fun and I hope you give them a try. They really help you stretch your clay and you can make some stunning pieces. Thanks so much for watching.
Visit our Learning Center at cooltools.us for more cool jewelry making videos. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and be sure to sign up for our email list to be the first to hear about new videos, new products, and other cool stuff from Cool Tools.